Hey y'all, my name is Angela Davis and I'm the creator of the blog and YouTube channel called Prettify Your Life. If you followed me for a while, you've known I am a lover of all things crafty, and I like to show you how I do things and maybe inspire you to get out there and craft and create, make your life pretty too. So Happy New Year. I can't believe it's already 2017. Christmas flew by so fast for me. And we've already celebrated my oldest daughter's 15th birthday. I can't believe it. But now my first major craft project of this year is decorating for the Sadie Hawkins dance at our daughter's high school. If you're not familiar with what Sadie Hawkins is, it's basically just means the girls ask the boys to a dance. So that's what that means. And the theme for our dance is Simply Southern Sadies, which kind of is a homage to those Simply Southern shirts. It's a Western theme, kind of Western chic. And it's a good tie-in because we'll be starting the Houston Rodeo down here, and that's a huge deal. So it's all about Western chic with my next projects. So a couple of days ago, I posted this on my Instagram, which is Prettify Your Life, by the way. So follow me, because I do update my Instagram more frequently than I do videos, but I'm going to try to do videos a lot more this year. And a lot of you wanted to know how I made this. It's actually very simple. And like some of you said, yes, this would be good for birthdays or baby showers. I'm going to warn you, it's a tedious project. Of course, I had to make 12 letters. I have one more to do on camera. It took me a while, I'm not going to lie. It's not for the people that have the short attention spans, because this requires just a lot of time, but it's not hard at all. So let's talk about the supplies I used. First of all, I used my Silhouette machine. You can use any kind of cutting machine, or you don't have to, but I used the cutting machine so that I could make a large template. So I used my Silhouette machine, a large 12 by 24 mat, I have this large 12 by 24 cardstock I think I got it with a bundle when I bought one of my cutting machines. I've had it forever. I hardly ever use it, but I thought this would be a good idea. If you don't have the cardstock, you could try poster board and just use a heavy setting on your cutting machine. So that's the first thing I did, and this is Franklin Gothic Demi font. I will try to put the cutting file, the studio file, and the SVG file on my accompanying blog post that goes along with this video, so check that out. These are about 17 inches tall with varying widths depending on the letter, but no wider than 11.5 inches because I wanted it to fit on the mat to cut. So cardstock, Silhouette, matte, and then foam core, because I'm going to trace this on foam core and cut it out. So I buy my foam core, I think they're like 20 inches by 30 inch sheets. I buy this at the dollar store, Dollar Tree or Dollar General. Quite frankly, that's the cheapest place I have found it. I don't understand why foam core is so expensive. You know, if you just need 1 or 2 sheets, you can find it in various places. But I usually buy 10 to 20 sheets at a time, so that can add up. So dollar stores are your friends for things like that. Then you're going to need an X-Acto knife and a pencil and hot glue, tons and tons of hot glue sticks. And why are hot glue sticks so expensive? That drives me crazy. If you have a cheap place to buy your hot glue sticks, please tell me, because I'm on the hunt for cheap glue sticks. It ticks me off I have to pay that much. I digress. And a hot glue gun, and tons of time, and floral wire if that's how you want to wire in your letters. I think that's what I'm going to do. I haven't completely decided, but I'm going to put these on some wooden stars. I'll show you in a little bit. And I think I'm just going to wire them on. You could glue them on, but I want to be able to use the stars for something else. So that's my supply list, and let's get started. Okay, I also forgot to mention that the key component is coffee filters. I totally forgot that in my supply list. These are just very inexpensive. I think 79 cents for 100. I got at Kroger the 8 to 12 cup coffee filters. So that is what creates the puffy texture on the letter. So I'm sorry I forgot that in my supply list. Okay, so let's get started. Now I have my piece of foam core that I got at Dollar Tree, and I have my cutout letter from just plain cardstock using my silhouette. Again, I will post the studio and SVG file on my blog post. So now all we have to do is trace the letter. I just hold it down so as to minimize the paper movement. And now I had the question, what do I use to cut this out? I basically just use an X-Acto knife. I attempted to use a rotary cutter on the straight lines, which is possible. I bought a brand new blade and I proceeded to slice my finger quite badly, so excuse the band-aid, but trust me, it's better than my wound. So it's your preference. So I have really good luck just using an X-Acto knife, and so that's my tool of preference. And you just have to apply firm pressure and just make sure your blade is nice and sharp. And I try to do it as many long strokes as possible. Now you will probably have to go back through it a few times sometimes when you may have caught an edge or something. And right here you can see there's the tag. So this is what I do to cut out the letter. Just go all the way around it with an X-Acto knife and cut it out. That's pretty simple. Okay, now that I have the letter cut out, it is time to cover it with the coffee filters. Probably the hardest part of this project is separating these coffee filters. Have you ever had those mornings where you're like, come apart? Well, there you go. So to cover this letter, I've consulted several blogs about coffee filter crafts, and I kind of devised my own system after doing 11 other letters. That I like to do a line of coffee filters in the center, hot glued down, and then I like to fill in on the sides and end to create that fullness. So let me zoom in here to show you my process for creating these little poofs. It may work for you. You kind of have to develop your own style and look. I gently fold it in half, and then I just kind of squinch it up into a flower shape, and then I'm going to have this tail, okay? And this tail I kind of bend up a little bit, and this is what I'm going to lay in the hot glue on the letter, okay? So I like to start on the end, and I come in a little bit, okay? And put my bead of glue down and just lay the tail in it, press it down, and kind of fluff up the flowery part, okay? Give it a few seconds for the glue to set a little bit, okay? And it's a little flimsy at first, but once you start getting a lot of little poofs on there, they start kind of settling on themselves, and it starts taking shape. So again, fold it in half, squinch it together, trying to keep it level. Sometimes I kind of like to poof it, make that little tail, okay? See if you can see it. The tail like that. That's where the glue is gonna, you're gonna set it into the glue right there. So then I just kind of pull this piece back a little bit, add some more glue behind it, and put my tail into the glue right there, poof it, and see how it's starting to create that look that you're after. I already have one made up. I'll add another bit of glue behind the one I just put down. And I kind of like to kind of just push it down like that. Sorry if I went out of camera, apologize. Hold it there for a second and see, you have the beginnings of your filling. Okay, now as you can see, I've got the middle row done. It looks okay. I mean, some of you might be okay with just the middle row. Personally, I like it fuller. The S is a little bit thick right here in the middle, so I may have to put a little bit extra right here before I do my outside rows completely. But just adjust based on the letter. Like for instance, in this M, I didn't want to lose the shape of the letter here, so I only did a couple of rows right in here. So just use your judgment as far as your process and keeping the integrity of the letter, okay? So the process for the sides is just a little bit different. The difference is excuse me, I fold it like normal and also squitch it up like squitch it, I don't know if that's not a word, but anyway, you get the idea. And instead of leaving like a tail, I kind of tuck it in so that I can squish it in on the sides, kind of like if it were a flower without a stem and you wanted to hot glue it into a floral arrangement. Just kind of create basically just the bud, if you will, and so we're going to stick it in like that. So again, I start on the edge and dab some glue, and I'm just gonna stick it in and hold it for a second or two. And there you go. Let's do that again. Fold it, squish it, trying to make it as even as possible. And then because this is a side one, I kind of tuck in that end and fluff it out a little bit. When I push it into the letter, I kind of like to grab it like this and push it in, okay? So another dab of glue next to the one I already put in, and just push it in and hold it there. And this project is really forgiving. The material is very forgiving. You can fluff, you can squish down. Very easy to deal with. So we're going to do that on both sides and then go to the next step. Okay, as you can see, I have finished the S with my middle row and the two outside rows, and it's very nice and full. I really like how it looks. The last thing I would do, I'm not going to do now, but I'll show you what I will do. So I'll flip it over and I'll take some either floral wire or pipe cleaners. I will do it in probably a white or, you know, a not so bright color, but I wanted to show you with this so you could see on camera. And hot glue some pipe cleaners or wire along here on the back so I can wire this in to the decoration I'm going to be using, which is a wooden star. Let me show you what that's going to look like. I found this star at Thanksgiving in a little town outside of Dallas, and I'm going to just wire the S in there like that. And I'm going to do that all along the dance floor. One side will say Simply and the other side will say Sadie's. And you could hot glue this onto the star, but I want to be able to reuse these stars, so I'm just going to wire them in when I hot glue the wire on the back of this. So my next project will be to recreate this star, which it's 5 pieces of wood, which are 35 inches in length, just stapled together to make a star. So I will be off to the hardware store soon to find this wood and kind of recreate these so that I can finish this project up. The dance is next month, February 4th, so I will be showing you the finished product with all of the stars hanging next month. So I hope this inspires you to try to make some pretty coffee filter letters. Very cheap, inexpensive, little time consuming, but easy. So thanks for watching, and